When people ask me why our firm is called Axio, they're usually expecting a story about finance or investing. Instead, I tell them about an owl. It turns out that one conversation about an owl ended up defining everything we believe in about helping families protect, grow, and enjoy their wealth. Stay tuned to this story. You're not going to want to miss it.
Welcome into Legacy Beyond Wealth. Glad to have you. Today we're pulling back the curtain on something that clients ask Rob all the time. Why Axio? And as you can probably imagine, it's more than just a company name, right? It actually represents the philosophy behind how Rob and his team serve families successfully. And look, if you've ever wondered, what separates a true wealth advisor from, someone who just simply manages your investments, today's episode is really going to dive into that quite a bit by pointing out what this whole idea behind the name Axio is. So, Rob, we've been doing the show for a while now, but I don't know that you've ever truly gotten into the story of Axio and kind of where that name came from. So, take us into that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories. When we decided to launch the firm, we knew the name mattered. We didn't want another financial company with words like capital, financial, or the advisor's name in the title. We wanted something that represented our purpose. So, like any person that knows their limitations, and mine might be creativity on branding, we decided to hire a branding firm, people who do this professionally. They spend hours asking us questions, not about logos or colors, but about who we are. They kept asking things like, what do you actually do? What problems do you solve? What makes you different? And at first I kept talking about investments, retirement planning, tax strategies, estate planning, all the things most wealth managers usually talk about. But these guys were good. They kept digging. And finally they stopped me and said something I'll never forget. They said, so you really like an owl? I kind of laughed and I thought, where in the world did that come from? And then they explained it. The more they talked, the more I realized they weren't describing a bird. They were describing the kind of advisor I wanted Axio to become.
Yeah, it's fascinating how they got to that comparison. So what were those characteristics that they connected the owl to your philosophy?
Yeah, it was 5 things that really stood out to me. And honestly, they still guide our team today. First, the owl protects the nest. And an owl's first responsibility is to protect its home. And for us, that's asset protection. Most people spend decades building wealth, but building and keeping wealth are 2 very different skills. So protecting your family from unnecessary taxes, protecting from assets from lawsuits, making sure your estate planning passes effectively, having the right insurance, those aren't exciting cocktail party conversations, but they're often the difference between wealth lasting 1 generation or lasting several generations. So before we help families grow wealth, we want to make sure the nest is protected.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think when most people think about wealth management, they think, okay, it's about investing in growth first, right? But you're saying actually protection is a big priority.
Exactly. If someone handed you a bucket with holes in the bottom, you wouldn't want to start pouring more water into it. You got to fix the holes first, right? And protection comes before that accumulation.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so that's the first connection with an owl. What's the second one they made?
Yeah, it really is vision. Owls have extraordinary eyesight. They can see things extremely well in low light situations where others may struggle. And that's what financial planning often feels like. Life isn't always clear. Markets become uncertain. Tax laws changes. Businesses are sold. Parents age, children grow up, and sometimes clients come in saying, I know something needs attention. I just can't quite see it. Our job is to bring clarity, to help families see risks and opportunities before they become obvious.
Yeah, I think that's what a great wealth advisor does too, right? They can kind of help you see around corners, see those obstacles that you didn't really know were in your way.
Exactly. I mean, good planning isn't predicting the future, it's preparing for it.
All right, one thing that people always know about owls, they can turn their head, right? Kind of both directions, all the way around. Does that fit in at all to this Axio?
It's one of my favorites. An owl can rotate its head 270 degrees, and that means it isn't just focused on what's directly ahead of them. It's got to be aware of what's beside it as well, behind it, above it, below it. Too many advisors only focus on investments. At Axio, investments are important, but they're only one piece of the picture. We also look at taxes, estate planning, business succession, charitable giving, insurance, family governance, cash flow, retirement planning, education planning, legacy planning. When all those pieces come together, that's where real wealth planning really happens. And sometimes the biggest financial risk isn't the one that's directly in front of you. It's the one that you didn't see sitting quietly off to the side that nobody noticed.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one for sure. All right. Take us to number 4 then, that next characteristic they found.
Yeah, it's patience. Owls don't rush. They wait. They observe. Then they act decisively. Kind of reminds me a little bit about investing. Successful investors don't win because they constantly react. They win because they stay disciplined. Every year there's a new prediction, a new crisis, a new investment everyone says you have to be able to own. Patience has to be built with wealth and making sure that you don't panic. The families who stay focused on long-term decisions usually end up with better outcomes than those chasing the short-term excitement that's out there.
Yeah, I think, a lot of times, wisdom isn't about just doing more and more, right? Sometimes it's actually about doing less. I know that we talk about that some with wealth management, right? It's not always taking the action. It's the lack of action. Sometimes it's a smarter move.
It is. And sometimes that really is the smartest financial decision, just staying the course.
Are you ready to unlock the freedom to live your best life? Schedule your no-cost 60-minute discovery meeting with our team today. During this session, we'll take the time to understand your family's story and financial dreams. Together, we'll craft a personalized roadmap designed to help you achieve your goals. Let's explore how we can unlock the freedom for you and your family to thrive. Just click the link in the description of today's show to get started.
All right, so our 5th and final comparison here. I got to guess it's got to do something with wisdom, right? Because that's what the owl's known for.
It is. I mean, wisdom, when you think about it across cultures, the owl has long been represented by wisdom. And not because it knows everything, because it sees clearly before acting. To me, wisdom isn't having every answer. It's asking better questions. What do you want your family to become? What does financial freedom actually mean to you? How much is enough? How do you transfer values, not just valuables? And how do you make sure wealth becomes a blessing instead of a burden? These are the conversations that matter most. And again, we've talked about it so many times that money is just a tool or a vehicle. Wisdom determines how to be able to get that tool to be used in the best way.
Hey, thanks for taking us into this kind of background onto this, Rob, because Axio is obviously a very unique name, but now kind of understanding the philosophy behind the name much more kind of makes you appreciate the process, right? Protecting the nest, seeing clearly, seeing the whole picture too, being patient, and obviously leading with wisdom. It's a really powerful way to think about wealth management, isn't it?
It really is. And every family we serve is different, but our mission stays the same: to help successful families unlock the financial freedom to live their best lives. If we can help them protect what they've built, see opportunities they couldn't see before, make wise decisions, and create a legacy that lasts well beyond money, then we're doing exactly what Axio was created to do.
I love that. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, leave a comment as well. And if you ever wondered, whether your financial plan is looking at the full picture, then we'd love to talk to you and have a conversation with you, a discovery call to start getting into that. You can just simply go to axiowm.com. Everything is in the show description as well to make it easy for you. Just look in the show notes wherever you're listening or watching us. We'd appreciate that. But also, Rob, I know, always loves hearing from people that watch the show and hear these things and want to follow up. So if you do have the time and you aren't interested, please do so. Take advantage of that discovery call with Rob and the team there. Well, thanks for taking us into this, Rob. Very interesting background on Axio, but definitely have a better picture and a better understanding of what's most important to you. So thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Ben.